Welcome back. You're watching Credlin. Well, as I said, closing access to beaches, restraining people from going into national parkland and banning short-term accommodation and rentals. That's just some of the actions that a Chinese developer is being accused of doing on an idyllic island in the Whitsundays. Wealthy Chinese development group China Bloom are locked in a standoff with landowners on Keswick Island, 30 k's off the coast from Mackay, quite close to Hamilton Island, after they purchased the head lease just over a year ago, with accusations the Chinese company is trying to kick locals off the island. Now, tensions came to a head this week when a community Christmas tree that had stood for 12 years was cut down. For more on all of this, I'm joined now by the Keswick Island Progress Association member, Mrs. Rayna Asbury. Rayna, thank you very much for coming on the show. This is an issue, I have to tell you, that's resonating well beyond your beautiful island. First of all, talk us through the changes that have hit your community since China Bloom acquired such a significant portion of it.
Yes, hi Peter, lovely to be on your show. Since China Bloom have taken on the lease, we've just found it's become a lot more difficult to live there and to travel there. I did up a list the other day comparing what we had on the island in 2013 to what we have now. And it's remarkable. There are over 25 different services and facilities that we had available to us in 2013 that we don't have now. So, life has become a lot more difficult there.
Give us some examples of the services that you've lost.
Right. For example, we've lost access to a legal boat ramp that they had built for us. There are no longer fixed-wing planes flying into the island. We don't have a dry dock facility. We no longer get freight coming on a plane. Just small things. They've removed the tow vehicle for boats to be launched into the water. They've actually confiscated people's trailers and advised us that boat trailers are no longer allowed on the island. I mean, we're living on an island, we need boats, we're very limited in how we can get to and from the island. And if you don't have your own boat, you can fly by helicopter, which is exorbitantly expensive. To pay $1,300 just to go and pick up some groceries, it's just not tenable, really.
So what's been the response of government, local government, the Queensland government to what's been going on? Because, that's a big change to your living standards.
Yeah, it's been really disappointing. We went down, a group of us went down to see the Queensland state government in March this year, and we met with them and we highlighted a lot of the breaches that exist between the head lessee and the Queensland government, and most of these issues are with them. We submitted a 250-page document with documented evidence, listing all the breaches, and the response we've got back from the Queensland government is we can organise arbitration between you and the head lessee. And our argument is it's not between us and the head lessee, it's between the Queensland government and the head lessee. The head lessee.
So that's a very important point. Yeah, let me just pick that up so people can follow this at home. They haven't bought the freehold, this China Bloom company, they haven't bought the freehold part of the land. All they've done is acquire a long-term lease. And the freehold, or the Crown land hold of the land, is obviously the Queensland government. And so what you're picking up is discrepancies between what they're telling the Queensland government, or what the lease agreement says they're allowed to do, and what they're actually doing on the ground, which is against the rules of the lease, the requirements of the lease, but the Queensland government doesn't appear to be stepping in to put them back to the terms of the lease that are in your favour.
Yes, well, I can just read out to you the very first term of the head lease says the lessee must use the leased land for commercial business purposes, being tourism, residential, marine facility, marine works, and aerodrome purposes. Now, the second line said this lease may be forfeited if not used for the purpose stated above. Out of that list of purposes, the only one that is in operation at this stage is residential, and that's us. And they're making it that difficult for us to live on the island that if they carry on, I guess that even that purpose will go away. So, what is the Queensland government doing? Why are they not addressing this? It's quite clear to us that
there are
they're
claims,
not abiding by the headpiece.
There are claims from China Bloom and others that the residents are all, anti-development. Is that fair or not?
No, that's completely incorrect. In actual fact, we wrote them a letter at the end of 2019, trying to engage with them, saying that we would work with them. We would like to know what their plans were. The contents of that letter are proof that none of us are anti-development. We have been waiting for a marina to be put in since we bought our leases, since 1996. So that by the time, if China Bloom actually did build the marina, which I'm not sure whether they are going to, we would have been waiting 31 years. That's a third of our almost a third of our total lease period for this infrastructure. And our properties have gone spiraling down in value. It's just ridiculous that the government has not held any of the head lessees to account for the lack of development. So to say that we're anti-development is just ridiculous. That is not true.
When you saw the Queensland government, and obviously there's been an election, but they have been returned, did they take on board your concerns? I mean, you're all Australian citizens. You're all land lessees, as is this Chinese company. But there seems to be a preference, I guess, from what you're saying, for the view of the Chinese company over the residents.
Yeah, they listened to everything we had to say. There was that issue, I'm sure everyone's aware of it, of them excavating the beach. And one of the representatives said, "Can you please send all that information to me directly? We will get onto this." And we did that. We had affidavits, we had timestamp photographs. We had a whole document of exactly what had happened on the beach. We sent it to them and nothing. 6 months later, after the event had occurred, the Department of Environmental Science came out, had a look at the beach and said, we can't see any evidence of turtles nesting here. Well, obviously they're not going to be turtles nesting. So, that tiny bit of action, there's been that little bit of action, and the Mackay Regional Council has had, I think they might have been out once since we voiced our issues with them. The problem is that government have so many different levels, so each breach has to be addressed by the appropriate level of government. So, it's difficult for us to know who the right people are to go to, and this person says that person, and that department says it should be the other department. So, it's really hard to get proper action. Another example, which is recent, is they built this illegal boat ramp, and they sort of created a temporary road down to the boat ramp. The erosion, there's no erosion control. Last rainy season, a lot of that soil got washed into the water and over coral reef, which is nearby. Department of Environmental Science came out and looked at it and said, well, you really do need erosion control here. We would like an engineered solution installed by the 1st of November this year. Where are we now? We're mid-December and there's still nothing there. There's a couple of rotting hay bales. It's just not good enough, really.
It's not good enough, Rayna, and I tell you, as I said at the start, this has resonated right around the country. I have to leave it there, but I'm going to contact you outside of the program and connect you with some federal MPs up your way that I know will take your concerns further. But let's stay across it, and I'll be here for you to come on and give us an update in the new year because, as I said, this is something that's got a broader reach beyond just your community in the Whitsundays. As beautiful as it is, we're all concerned for what's happening to you. Thank you for your time, Rayna.
Yeah. Well, thank you very much, Peter.